إن الحمد لله نحمده نستعينه ونستغفره ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فلا يضر إلا نفسه أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم وليبدلن من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونني لا يشركوا بي شيئا ومن كفر بعد ذلك فأولئك هم الفاسقون رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم ألهمني رشدي وأعذني من شر نفسي اللهم آمين يا رب. So today I will be talking about the Khilafah and the Ijtehad, actually the Ijtehadat or the Fatwas of Ali radiallahu anhu. And when it comes to these subjects, the Fatwas of Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman and Ali, there are entire books on this subject. I mean, what I'm mentioning are just a few. There's like, you can literally have like a small dictionary of going alphabetically with Alif, for example, in all of their Ijtihadat. And what I've given is just, the more common, well-known ones. And some of the more intricate ones I've obviously left out. Maybe one day, inshallah, we can go into those. But having said that, now, there's one thing that I want to mention before I start with Ali radiallahu anhu. One of the ijtihads of Umar that's a very important ijtihad. And one can begin to appreciate how, well, I won't go into that right now, but one of his ijtihads was that no one was allowed to make a house with a high ceiling because of the hadith that he was involved in, and the hadith Jibreel yatatawaluna anil bunyan. So Umar's his fatwa was that in his khilafah, when he was the khalifa, no one was allowed to have a house with high ceilings. And when Uthman radiallahu anhu became the khalifa, his ijtihad was no, people have their wealth, they have their property, they can do whatever they like with it. And so the people in the time of Uthman were able to actually, especially the people of Mecca and Medina, they were restricted by Umar radiallahu anh in what they can do with their wealth. They were not allowed to travel, as I mentioned. They were not allowed to buy tall buildings, because that was one of the signs of the Day of Judgment. Uthman radiallahu anh said, look, I'm going to have liberal policies. I'm not going to be very conservative. And if you remember, I had made a distinction. Umar's feeling was that the main purpose of the Khilafah was to set right from wrong. Like the Prophet said, Ashaddu fi amrillahi Umar. The most severe regarding the commandments of Allah is Umar radiallahu. So his mindset was, but Uthman radiallahu anh, his mindset was, the purpose of the Islamic governance, the purpose of the Islamic Khilafah is to make things flourish and for the benefit of the people. So if they have wealth, they should be able to use their wealth. And he didn't stop them in any way. Now you'll see this in contrast to Ali. When it came to wealth, he had similar feelings to Umar radiallahu anh. He had similar, you can say, a similar perspective as Umar, that wealth will lead to corruption, and in fact, in his opinion, had led to the corruption that he was in the situation of. And now, after having said that, now let me go to Ali radiallahu anh. One thing to understand his khilafah and his situation, and a lot of people are not aware of this, but imagine a situation, because Mecca was a place where you're not allowed to fight, and Medina was a place of the Prophet, and the Prophet Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, they never had standing armies. There was no such thing as a standing army. It was what we call a militia. Militia is, you make a call, jihad. Then the people, they come and they say, okay, we're going to go with you and we're going to fight with you. There was no standing armies. And because there were no standing armies, and because amongst the Arabs, this is second, the Arabs, they respected the even if you were a mushrik, even if you were a pagan, you worshipped idols, you still respected the places like Mecca, right? You wouldn't go in, an Arab wouldn't go into Mecca with an army to just conquer and kill. It was against their own customs to do something like this. But as Islam was growing, and as Islam was conquering the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, those people didn't have these ideas. They didn't have those same customs as the Arabs did. And so the idea that, so when the people that had come to kill Uthman radiallahu anhu, where were they all from? They were all foreigners. They had come from Egypt, they had come from Iraq, some of them had come from Syria. All the external elements were coming into Medina, and this is a very important reason why Ali radiallahu anhu left Darul Khilafah as Medina and went to Kufa, which I'll talk about in a second. But the point I'm trying to make here is, imagine you have a Khalifa Uthman and he has no standing army, right? And it would have been the case for Omar too. If somebody, how did Omar die? He got killed. He had no standing army, no security, no one to check. Oh, you're going to go into the Masjid of the Prophet, let me check if you have any knife with you, right? Or a dagger, that Omar was killed with a dagger. There was no one, there was no security, there was no security personnel, there was no standing army. Which is why actually one of the first ijtihads of Ali when he became the Khalifa was he removed all the governors that Uthman had put in place. Why? Because they failed in their responsibility to protect Uthman. And because Uthman had sent a letter, I need armies now, because this is coming to the last point where I need help. And they were slow in responding. So Ali, when he became the Khalifa, he let them all go. And Ali was told, don't do this, this will be too of a drastic change for people to take. And Ali responded to that, which I won't go into right now. But the point I'm trying to make is, Medina had no standing armies. It had no security guards. Anyone can go to Medina and literally kill anyone. And amongst the Arabs, it was accustomed to keep these places like Mecca safe. There would be no war in Mecca. Even if you were a mushrik, there would be no war in Mecca. But as Islam was spreading, these foreign elements were beginning to come into Medina. And so they saw that they're able to come into Medina and kind of like bully the people of Medina because there's no standing army. And when they saw, hey, we can bully ourselves, and they came as an organized group. So they're already an organized group inside Medina, and they're successful in killing Uthman radiallahu anhu. Now, how does Ali become the Khalifa is very interesting, because it has to do with his first ijtihad. So now there's no Khalifa, and these rebels have now taken over this city that has no standing army, has no militia, has nothing. There were different opinions within this group that had killed Uthman what to do next. Some of them wanted Ali to become the Khalifa. Some of them wanted Talha radiallahu anhu to become the Khalifa. Some of them wanted Zubair radiallahu. These are all very, very prominent figures of that time. Very prominent. I mean, Talha, Zubair, these are like amongst the Ashra Mubashra also. Anyway, so they ask Ali, you become the Khalifa? He says, no, I'm not going to do that. They go to Talha, he says no. They go to Zubair, he says no. And so this group is getting a little bit agitated. So they say to Ali, and they say to the companions of the Prophet, if you guys don't choose a Khalifa, within the next 24 hours, we're just going to rampage the place. We're just going to cause chaos. So, without shura, without the consultation of the other companions that were in other parts of the Muslim world, Ali was thinking about it, Talha and Zubair kind of thought, we should just leave Medina. Just leave the situation. Maybe that's what we need to do. And Ali radiallahu anhu was asked many times, or by his Abdullah bin Abbas, Hassan his son, had told Ali, just leave the situation. But Ali said, I can't become the Khalifa, but I'm not willing to be a coward and leave the situation at the same time. And remember, imagine this situation where the Khalifa has just been killed. And if you're going to be nominated as the next Khalifa, what does it mean? You're also going to be under the gun. Right? You're also going to be under the gun of the same people who killed Uthman. So Ali says, okay, fine. I don't want chaos. I don't want more problems. I'll take the Khilafah. Everybody come to, and he thought, okay, this is going to be a weak Khilafah and I'll find my way to become strong. This was his thinking. I'll find a way to become stronger, but right now I'll just take what I got. He goes to Masjid Nabi, he gives a khutbah about the death of Uthman and all things that have happened, and the people start giving him allegiance. A very famous event comes there, but I don't think I'll mention it actually, because of some reasons. But people start giving their allegiance to Ali radiallahu anhu, the whole of Medina. Talha and Zubair, according to some accounts. Now remember, history, this is not Quran and Hadith, this is history. History means that there can be more than one account of what happened. So some accounts say Talha and Zubair were forced back and forced to give bay'ah to Ali radiallahu anhu, which was one of the reasons that there was discontent with Ali also. Because it was almost like they were forced to give bay'ah to him without the aspect of consultation of the companions of the Prophet. So, anyway, Ali radiallahu anhu, he takes the bay'ah, including Talha and Zubair, and he becomes the Khalifa. Now he's thinking, okay, what should I do? His first ijtihad, once he's the Khalifa, one of his first ijtihads, the big ones, amongst the big ones, is he wanted, remember what they're dealing with, Ali is dealing with the same situation as Uthman. Uthman's attitude was, hey, if they're here to kill me, let them kill me, you guys deal with it. Right? But Ali, when he saw what happened to Uthman, and why did Uthman not do anything? One of the reasons was he didn't want to cause bloodshed in the city of the Prophet. So Ali, seeing that he also doesn't want to cause bloodshed in the city of the Prophet, he decides, I need to leave this city of the Prophet. It was probably a very hard decision to do that. Because to leave a place like Mecca and Medina as an Arab, right? And to go to a place like Kufa, which was the great Persian Empire, which was the superpower of the world at that time, to make that such a big shift would be a very, very difficult decision. And so Ali radiallahu anhu, because he doesn't want to cause bloodshed in Medina, number one, and number two, like I said, that it began to be felt by the people of Medina that as Islam is expanding, the people they're not in the same mindset as the people of Mecca and Medina. And these foreign elements are coming into Medina. And so Ali radiallahu anhu, he felt he needs to go to the center of what you could say the philosophical world of that time, which was Basra and Kufa. This is very, very important because the only person, even amongst all the companions, who could have philosophically dealt with the Persian philosophies and actually, because if you ever read the statements of Ali, they're very philosophical. His way of thinking was very philosophical. His way of looking at things was very philosophical. He was unique in the sense, even the Prophet said, أَنَا مَدِينَةُ الْعِلْمِ وَعَلِي بَابُهَا, I am the city of knowledge, Ali is the door of it. And Ali was a man of great, look, he started the one of the fatwas, or one of the initiatives. This is not so much a fatwa than an initiative. But one of the initiatives that Ali radiallahu anhu did was he set the standard of Arabic language in terms of grammar. There was no grammar. See, what happened is that as Islam was spreading, people were learning Arabic, but they were learning Arabic in a little bit of a wrong way. They were making mistakes in grammar, and this bothered Ali. So he set in every Arabic book, every classical, you can take Ajrumiyah. Ajrumiyah is a very classical Arabic book. You can take Al-Kitab. You can take any of the major classical books of Arabic grammar. They all start with this sentence that Ali laid down as the foundation of Arabic grammar. Okay? And that is that there are three types of kalimat. There is ism, fi'l, and harf. Ism, fi'l, harf. The Arabic language has three parts. You know how in English you have adjective, pronoun, verb, adverb, so on and so forth. In Arabic, you have only three. You have ism, which is what we call nouns, fi'al, which you call verbs, and then you could say what we call conjunction, and, is, and so on and so forth. Harf, we call it harf in Arabic. But anyway, the point is, Ali radiallahu anhu, one of his mindsets was he was very big on education. And I'll come to this because it has to do with one of his fatwas in a little bit. But Ali radiallahu anhu moved from Medina to Mecca, number one, to protect Medina from the civil war that was kind of happening there. And number two, he needed to get outside that situation. Number three is that Ali radiallahu anhu, because of the people that had been in Medina, he couldn't ask for their help, right? Their support physically, like in terms of being an army. And he even tried, and it wasn't very successful, when he tried to get other people in Medina to help him. He gave a khutbah for jihad in Medina at one time. I won't go into that right now. That has to do with some of the other issues. But anyway, so he moved to be, because what was the number one thing that if Uthman was killed and Ali becomes the Khalifa, what's the number one case on his list of things to do? What if a president dies and the next president comes in? What's the number one thing he has to do? Find whoever is the person who is the killer of Uthman radiallahu anhu. That was the number one thing to do. And that's what he wanted to do. But here's where the difference of opinion happened like this. And you could say this was the difference of opinion between the ijtihad of Muawiyah and the ijtihad of Ali radiallahu anhu. And of course, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah agrees with Ali on this. And that is, Muawiyah, before Uthman died, Muawiyah, this is before the stage where I said Uthman asked for help. Muawiyah wanted to help Uthman radiallahu anhu, and Muawiyah had said, okay, if Uthman said, if I die,